everyone. We welcome you to this brief presentation on the project carried out by my colleague, Dr. Sachin.labade, and me, Kranti Doibale. Despite advances in techniques and technologies of learning and teaching English as a second language, the contextual gravity presents us with unique problems and demands customized rather than ready-made solutions. Does a needs analysis-based approach to the teaching and learning offer any unique insights to identify the problems associated? Can the circumstantial factors such as geographical and social location be turned to learners' advantage? Does the level of communicative proficiency of the teacher affect the imparting of the same? Can a pragmatic intervention help reduce such a proficiency gap? It is these questions that we make an attempt to address in the present paper. This paper is the outcome of a collaborative initiative, Let's Learn English, a UNICEF-funded project undertaken by us in collaboration with Quest, a Mumbai-based NGO working in the field of primary education at the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas in Jalna district of Maharashtra. The aim of this project was twofold: to address the gap between expected language proficiency of the learners and their actual proficiency level, and to equip teachers to train learners in achieving the required proficiency. A needs analysis-based approach through a baseline test was designed for students keeping the proficiency level expected at grade 7. It was ensured that the linguistic inputs used in designing the test were taken from grade 4th, 5th, and 6th Balbharti English textbooks. The test was designed keeping LSRW skills in the backdrop and included questions such as matching, gap filling, error correction, multiple choice, and open questions. Based on the analysis of the baseline test, interaction with teachers, and on-field observations, proficiency-specific gaps were identified in the learners, as can be seen in the table. A baseline test for teachers was also conducted. The analysis of this test indicated that unless the teacher's language proficiency is addressed, the whole exercise of equipping them to teach English is completely ineffective. Hence, a modular program was designed and implemented to minimize the said proficiency gap in teachers as well as learners. As the Let's Learn English project undertook to train teachers in effectively implementing a remedial teaching of English to grade 7th and 8th students, two aspects needed to be considered. First, devising a module taking into account the basic language skills required so as to bridge the gap between learners' present proficiency level and expected one. And secondly, upskilling the linguistic and pedagogic proficiencies of the participating teachers, as the project heavily depended on them for the implementation of the program. For this purpose, it was believed a series of workshops may help in initiating the process of connecting dots through remediation. The most important linguistic elements that needed to be emphasized to initiate this process included exposing learners to sound and graphic codes, decoding, meaning making, developing active vocabulary through nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, using articles, prepositions of time and place, sentence constructions, simple sentence in present and past tense, guided and free composition, and so on. Teachers needed to be trained in teaching the above elements, involving students in listening, observing, acting out, reading, speaking, and writing. As the analysis of the baseline test for teachers indicated, it was necessary to train these teachers in devising activities and customizing teaching and learning material, besides upgrading their own English language proficiency. Based on the inputs from the BLT discussions and observations, a series of workshops of approximately 56 hours was designed and implemented to address the said gaps. I now hand over the bearings to my colleague, Dr. Sachin.labade.
Thank you, Kranti. In language teaching and learning, strategies play a vital role. Usually, it is a choice of strategy that contributes either to the failure or success of a learning objective. Clancy and Ruska suggest characteristics of effective strategies which include physical involvement with language, use of multiple mediums to present information, opportunities to demonstrate language comprehension through physical expression, a low stress environment for language performance, and ample scope for interactions with the other learners. Based on these parameters, we devised the following strategies to be used by teacher trainers in their remedial classes. These include, namely, games, communicative tasks, songs and rhymes, art and craft, using classroom and surrounding as material, problem solving, and group projects. We must remember that it is the implementation by the teacher that decides success or failure of strategies. As mentioned earlier, the teachers needed to be upskilled not only in language pedagogy, but also language proficiency. Hence, a twofold strategy was deployed. First, pedagogical inputs. After each session on a strategy, teachers were grouped, paired, and were instructed to devise and perform a set of activities along with clear instructions to engage the learners. Besides, the teachers were given a period of approximately 28 days to implement the said activities in their respective schools and prepare brief reports along with supporting material, which was then presented by them in the following workshops. Second, linguistic inputs. The teachers faced problems in pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence construction, and even usage. One of the major strategies used to address this was the consciousness raising technique, such as autocorrection through re-examination of their speeches and notes. The linguistic proficiency gaps were addressed by introducing use of dictionary and comprehensive functional grammar during the training sessions. This proved useful in increasing confidence level of teachers. Besides, the process of writing instructions for each activity and demonstrating them during training sessions helped them to address the proficiency gaps. Now, the end-line test. After conducting a series of workshops for the duration of approximately 56 hours over a period of 4 months, an end test was conducted for students as well as teachers. The outcome of the test for teachers shows that their performance range, which in baseline test was between 1.27 and 4.12, was raised to 3.87 and 5.62 in the end line test. This shows a certain, though not very remarkable, progress among teachers. What must be mentioned here is that despite the lack of any external motivation and the absence of stable career as well as situational hurdles, these teachers were able to show consistency in their efforts. The series of workshops was successful in initiating the much needed change in the proficiencies of these teachers as well as their approach and attitude towards teaching of English as a second language. As for the students, the progress was measured by observing in-class participation during the visits to respective schools. The interactions with them during demo sessions showed a very positive response. The students were able to use vocabulary in the given context through the group, pair, and individual activities. Besides, collaborative activities such as scrapbook, letters to teachers and the NGO, instruction sheets, creative corner showed a remarkable impact on the level of participation of students. I must say, despite its circumstantial limitations, the project was seminal in initiating the process of connecting the dots by addressing the aforementioned twofold proficiency gap. To conclude, we suggest that along with the interactive and communicative approach, teachers' linguistic and pedagogical proficiency be constantly upskilled for effective acquisition. Thank you very much.